G.E.H.A. Join J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Pride of the Jaguars, Fred Taylor, as they break down today's game. Jaguars Postgame is brought to you by Farah and Farah, the University of Florida, Whataburger, and by Everbank. Jaguars Postgame, presented by G.E.H.A., starts right now.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Jaguars Postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A. Government Employees Health Association, benefits for federal employees and retirees. The Jags would like to retire all memories of this one, maybe with the lone exception of the game Travis Hunter had today. 35-7, the L.A. Rams dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars and basically named their score today. Matthew Stafford became the first quarterback in the NFL's International Series to throw for 5 touchdowns in a game. I'm Mike Dempsey back at the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. We've got Brian Sexton standing by at Wembley Stadium, joining me here for a few minutes. We'll try to catch up with Bucky Brooks, Liam Cohen, and others before we break down shop at Wembley and the Jags make the trip back home. But Brian, this was one that it was pretty evident from the outset. Once again, the Jags didn't match the physical play. It was a mistake-prone game, and basically the Rams name their score on offense today.
Yeah, listen, I thought that the Rams were a better football team, primarily because they had a quarterback in Matt Stafford who had seen everything, and Devontae Adams, who we know has been a nightmare for the Jaguars. I thought it was going to be a tough ask for them to come out here and to win the game. They were going to have to play nearly perfect football, and yet it's anything but. I mean, all we talked about in the pregame show, as Bucky Brooks puts a headset on, is that they had to play a solid game, and they had to avoid penalties, turnovers, mistakes. I had them at 16 penalty flags, 13 of which were accepted today. Mm-hmm. We talked about, could you get to 4, right? Kansas City in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football committed 13 penalties, and the following Sunday night against the Detroit Lions, man, they fixed it. They had none. Today, the Jaguars had a worse day from the mistake penalty standpoint, and Bucky, it crushed them.
It absolutely did, Brian. It was it's really disappointing to see the way that we came out in terms of just a lack of execution, and then very, very early in the game, you could just see that we couldn't get it right. I can tell you from being on the sideline, it's the most out of sorts I've seen our team. Even the most emotional in terms of reacting to bad calls and everything like that. We just couldn't get it back together. And then when we did string together some plays that would put us in position to put together, we would hurt ourselves. Drop pass, penalty, missed kick, things that we really hadn't seen. Not necessarily like we've seen the drops or whatever, but just the lack of execution in those critical moments. That hadn't been a part of the DNA.
You know, Mike and Bucky, the Jaguars had 6 consecutive drives that got into Rams territory between the second quarter and the third quarter, and they came away with no points on any of those. The third quarter, in particular, seemed to stretch forever. It felt like, even though the Jaguars were in a 3-touchdown hole, there were opportunities for them to make something of it, and yet they couldn't get it done. And I felt like, and this is just anecdotal, but I felt like it was the drop passes that really caused problems for this football team today, because every time there was a chance to make a catch, to make a play, to extend a drive, to get you down inside the 5-yard line, the ball came out.
Yeah, we're not coming up with the 50-50 balls, and they're called 50-50 balls for a reason because they're difficult, but we're not making enough of those plays. I think on top of the drop balls, I think there is a confidence in the kicker situation, whereas in the past, we talked about in preseason when Cam Little, 70-yarder, now he misses, and he's missed a few things that we used to take as layups or gimmies. But when he's missing, now you begin to, do we go for it? Do we kick? Do we go for it? Because you would like to see if he makes one, maybe we stack some threes until we can find our way. We kind of stay in the game as opposed to playing with the level of desperation from the second quarter on.
Bucky, I think you hit it because I was going to bring up that exact point. I think once you elect to go for it or not go for it on 4th and a yard and a half, which surprised me at that point anyway, as well as the Rams have been moving the ball. I felt like they'd want to keep pace. But then Cam Little misses that, and I think you're exactly right. There was no confidence. They ended up going for it on like 4th and 7. And I get it. Now you're getting behind. You're 21-0 down, and you have to have touchdowns. But, guys, this is going to be an ongoing issue until they solve it. And I had reports from folks that he was fantastic in warm-ups again, which he wasn't last week, but he went out there and hooked it badly, Buck. And you look at his facial expression on the sideline. He's shaking his head. You know how it can go with kickers. They can lose their confidence quickly, and Cam's misses are starting to pile up right now.
You know, I saw him, Mike, on the practice field earlier this week on Thursday, and I thought he was kicking pretty well. And then he missed one, and I thought, uh-oh, right? I mean, you expect your kicker on the practice field, I mean, unless you're kicking from 75 yards, to nail all of those. And when he missed that, I was looking at his body language, and his body language seemed almost shocked that he missed it. So when he got out there today, I thought, man, is this the right time to try this field goal from 50 yards? It had been raining all day. The field was wet. There was moisture in the air. Maybe just go for it on 4th down and 2 at that moment in time. And, Bucky, maybe that seems desperate, but I guess I just didn't believe that the kicker was ready to come in and overcome his lack of confidence.
Well, I will say, in watching him and his body language after the miss kicked, he is definitely in a weird headspace. I would say that his reaction to the miss was not only of dejection, but of frustration, exasperation, all of those emotions at once. Like, he sat down there by himself. No one went to kind of console him or comfort him, because kickers are – it's kind of weird in terms of, like, the dynamic. Do you go – talk to him, you just kind of let him be. And you could just tell, like, he seemingly has never experienced a miss or slumps, and he's having a hard time kind of going through it and trying to work his way out of it.
But, you know, of all the problems, that one, safe to say, is down the list, because we just enumerated the penalty problems that were an issue all day. For the second straight game, the Jaguars have given up 7 sacks. Now, I get it. A lot of those came I think Trevor dropped back to pass 47 or 48 times when it was clear what they were doing, and that makes it tough on the offensive line. But, I mean, 7 sacks in back-to-back weeks. Matt Stafford had 5 touchdown passes. That's the first time in international play that's happened. First time against the Jaguars since 2012. And Davante Adams, 3 touchdowns. I think he's got 7 touchdowns, or maybe 8, in his last 3 outings against the Jaguars. So there were coverage problems, despite there being no Puka Nacua. I mean, this was just, between the drop passes and the sacks and the mistakes, it was just a complete epic disaster for Liam Cohen's football team today. There's no way to paint it any other way.
No, it was a bad performance.
Yeah.
And it was one that we didn't anticipate. Just even coming off of the heels of the tough loss against the Seahawks, just not one where you expect them to lay an egg against a team that we thought would be a very competitive game. But I will say, you talk about the sacks up front, we have to figure that out. Like, we have to figure out how to play against back-to-back weeks, played against very good, young, dynamic defensive lines, and we haven't handled it well, not only in pass protection, but in the running game. And so over the bye week, we can reset, recalibrate, get back on track, kind of figure out, hey, we thought we were going to be this type team. This is the team that we have to be based on what our personnel is doing, how they're playing.
And, Bucky, they need to figure out their own pass rush as well, right? I mean, Matthew Stafford could stand back there, turn his head, go through his progressions for most of the first half when the game was in the balance, and do whatever he wanted to. And it made his throws easier, and therefore his guys had a little bit more time to get open. They were less contested. They were catching them because they were those easier type passes. So, I mean, look, Josh Hines-Allen's gotten a lot of pressure this year. He's got to start getting the quarterback on the ground. He's not the only one. That collectively, no sacks for the team and only 4 quarterback hits today. So how do you make that better, Buck, with the personnel that they have on hand?
Buck, I don't know whether you heard the question, but he was asking about the pass rush in particular and how you can get it going. Obviously, you've got Trayvon Walker, and you hope to get him in a cast for the Las Vegas game in 2 weeks, where he has more ability to rip and to use his arms and hands to throw guys around and to play to his strength. But the Jaguars have just gotten nothing in the pass rush. The 1 sack they did get today was negated by a penalty on Monteric Brown.
first things first, you got to be able to stop the run on early downs. What the Jaguars have not been able to do the last couple of weeks, they haven't been able to dictate the terms. So it means stop the run on early downs, force long yardage situations so everyone in the stadium knows it's a pass, and then you can heat them up. Because we haven't been able to control the game like we were controlling the first 4 games where no one could really run the ball, we forced them into these one-dimensional game plans, then you could heat them up. We haven't been able to do that. And so it all works together. Stopping the run is the priority, but then when we have the opportunity to rush the passer, you have to win your one-on-ones, and it has to be someone early. It was Eric Armstead being able to command some attention. So now Josh Hines Allen, and Trayvon Walker able to get more one-on-ones. Somebody else has to emerge besides 41 and 44 to be able to give us an opportunity to get more one-on-ones on the perimeter.
All right, guys, just past 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Jacksonville Jaguars radio network. The Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. We'll go back to London in a few moments. More with Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks. We'll hear from the head coach, Liam Cohen, as well as the Jaguars fall 35-7 to the Los Angeles Rams. This is Jaguars postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Federal employees keep our country going, and G.E.H.A. is proud to keep them going with health plans exclusively for them. We were started by postal employees in 1937, and today we offer all federal employees a network of 1.7 million providers and a health plan for every stage of life. That's why we've been trusted by millions of federal employees and retirees across the country since 1937. G.E.H.A. Find your federal health plan at GEHA.com.
Hi, it's Sam Kavaris. You probably already know that Echo East Coast Transportation is the official transportation provider for the Jaguars. I've been a client for more than 30 years because they're from here, and like you, they've been Jaguar fans from the beginning. So for any prearranged transportation needs, call them at 904-631-5466 or find them online at ectjax.com and use the code SAM in the special instructions box for your 15% Jaguars discount. And if you want to talk Jaguars, they can do that too.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Jaguars postgame continues. Mike Dempsey here from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks standing by at Wembley Stadium. We'll hear from head coach Liam Cohen coming up shortly. And guys, we talked a lot about Puka Nacua's potential absence. Found out Friday that he would be ruled out of this game. Didn't seem to matter, Brian, as Matthew Stafford was content to spread it around early on between all the different tight ends, and 10 different players caught passes today for the Los Angeles Rams. And as Stafford threw for 5 touchdowns, only needing 182 yards through the air. But it didn't look like they noticed Puka Nacua's absence very much today, Brian.
That's a really good football team. I mean, they shifted gears and they went right at both tight ends and just attacked. They went after Dewey Wingard early on and exposed his inability in the middle of the field to turn quickly. this is a very well-coached football team, and they did not miss a beat without Puka Nacua because they knew exactly how they wanted to play.
And I think for us as Jags, as we talk about, emulating some of the things that the Rams have been able to do is being able to have a roster that's so versatile that when one star player is out, you can go to other parts of the roster and get that production. It's having a coach who is comfortable being able to do those things and being able to make it where you can continue to exist if you don't have one of your guys. But it's not only that, it's having a mindset that next man up. People talk about it all the time, but they never crack or crumble when they lose people. They just kind of go to the next one. So I think if we continue to build it out and continue to kind of make it where this is who we are and this is how we're going to play, I think the pieces are there, but it's going to take some time for all this to pop.
How do you get this team, Bucky? And listen, this was the 7th game of the Liam Cohen era. So he's working on the mindset of this team. And we talked earlier about how resilient they were. Relative to last season, absolutely they were. But today it was the Rams who had no issue whatsoever with resilience. No Puka Nacua, no problem at all. Come in on Saturday, not a problem for them either. It seemed like anything they wanted to do, they were able to do. How do you get that mindset?
One, you demand it, and one, you don't kind of allow those other things, those excuses, to be a big part of the equation. You just keep playing. You don't react to bad calls. You just line the ball up and play the next one. Everything is your mindset. You're very intentional about having the toughness to deal with whatever's ahead of you. Having lived in L.A., having seen Sean McVay do it from the beginning, he's been very intentional about how they operate like that. They are a very tough-minded, hardened team. Look, the past 2 years, they started 1-4 and 1-4 and went to the playoffs. You don't do that if you don't have a hardened, tough-minded team. It's turning in Jacksonville, and I'm actually excited to see how we handle ourselves bye week and coming out of it. Because if we're the team that I think we're going to be, we'll handle it. We'll take these lessons, apply them, and it'll be a much different team that we see when we head to Vegas and play the Raiders on November 2nd.
All right, we've got to turn the conversation just slightly for a moment because when the coach comes in here, we're obviously going to talk about things that are not good. There was one thing that stood out today that was very positive, and that was Travis Hunter on both sides of the football. He made a play in the third quarter on a sideline route on 3rd down against Davante Adams, where from the line of scrimmage, his footwork was so good, it was like he ran the route step for step with him. Davante Adams made a high point move to catch the ball, and the minute the ball hit number 17's hands, there was Travis to break up the pass. And then in the fourth quarter, we saw him make a couple of plays, and he went over 100 for the first time in his career, got his first NFL touchdown. I know in the postgame he's not going to be very happy about it, but as Jaguars fans who are listening and you and I who cover this team, it was good to see number 12 rise to the occasion today.
I've said this, and I've said this for a few weeks. He should be the number 1 receiver right now. We have to feature him because every time he touches the ball, he makes you hold your breath for positive reasons.
Right.
He can turn a 5-yard pass into a 12-yard game quickly with his run after catch ability. He's consistent, reliable, dependable when it comes to catching the ball. He catches the ball in traffic. He catches the ball down the field. There's so many things that he can do, and he doesn't even know how good he can be because his route running is still a work in progress. But when you see the synergy and the connection between Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter, to me, they have to find a way to force feed him the ball.
All right, let's go throw it back to Mike Dempsey and squeeze a break in here. We're waiting on head coach Liam Cohen. Mike, we'll send it back to you.
All right, you got it, Brian and Bucky. Back to London here momentarily. Jags fall 35-7 to the LA Rams, waiting on the arrival of head coach Liam Cohen. You'll hear him coming up shortly. 35-7. Jags fall to the Rams. This is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with Everbank. Open an Everbank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank. Advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect.
When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it.
You make power plays.
Aim for fences.
And go for end zones.
You believe that your moment is now. At Farrah and Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you. Jacksonville.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A, Government Employees Health Association, benefits for federal employees and retirees. Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. Brian Sexton over at Wembley. Bucky Brooks doing some of his own postgame duties at the moment as we await Liam Cohen, who's now speaking with the assembled media there in London. Brian, won't be long before you get a chance to catch up with him. And I'm sure very disappointed. You go up against your mentor. This is not the way you want it to come out in the first head-to-head matchup as head coaches.
No, Mike, and I'm sure one of the first things that he will talk about is the fact that they played poorly against Seattle, and they came over here with the chance to spend time together this week, and it didn't appear at any moment in time that the team was distracted. Of course, they were all out at at the Grove together, and the Jaguars made a concerted effort to make everything easy so that they could focus on football and football only. He's going to talk about the fact that penalties and mistakes untimely against Seattle were crippling today against the Rams. Just every time it seemed like there was a chance for them to grab a little bit of traction, a little bit of momentum. Boom. There's the flag on the field. And listen, the best example of that, the penalty on Jarian Jones on the punt return touchdown that would have made it 14-7. By the way, it also would have been a Jaguars record, 3 in his career for Parker Washington, the 3rd in the last year for him, because remember, he did it here as well. At that moment, I thought, okay, this one is not going to go their way today, because there is the point in the game where you say, we needed a lift, we got a lift, everybody can settle down, the game is 14-7, we can get there. Then the Jaguars missed the field goal, and Mike, Matt Stafford, he could sense the desperation in the air. It was everywhere, like the rain, and you just knew this veteran quarterback is going to go right down the field and stick it in the end zone and put this one out of reach, and that's exactly what he did.
That is exactly what he did. All right, Brian, we'll get back out to you shortly here at Wembley Stadium. By the way, the Jaguars broadcast booth presented by Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and remodeling company, whether that's a broadcast booth here at Everbank or all the way across the pond at Wembley Stadium. We'll hear from Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jags, when we return. 35-7, the Jags fall to the LA Rams. This is Jaguars postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Federal employees keep our country going, and G.E.H.A is proud to keep them going with health plans exclusively for them. We were started by postal employees in 1937, and today we offer all federal employees a network of 1.7 million providers and a health plan for every stage of life. That's why we've been trusted by millions of federal employees and retirees across the country since 1937. G.E.H.A. Find your federal health plan at GEHA.com.
RingCentral's AI receptionist uses voice AI to answer on the first ring, so you'll never miss a call again. In just a few minutes, you can personalize your own AI receptionist to answer questions, route calls, schedule appointments, and even send texts in multiple languages. Plus, it's easy to scale. Create unlimited AI receptionists across any phone system. It's all powered by one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
It's game on, Jaguars fans, no matter where you might be. From the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. So as long as you've got a TV and a signal, you don't have to miss another game. Just one more reason why Ford F-Series has been the best-selling truck in America 48 straight years and counting. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup. Thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
All right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar.
Jaguars postgame presented by G.E.H.A. Mike Dempsey here from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville, folks. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jaguars, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. I will send it back to Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks. They're awaiting Liam Cohen any moment now over at Wembley Stadium, gentlemen, as it'll be a long trip back across the Atlantic coming home for the Jaguars.
Yeah, not for us. We're not on the team charter. We're coming back tomorrow, and this may be one of the few times that coming back the day after makes sense. I'm not sure that's going to be a happy ride at all. Bucky, let me take you back to the Wednesday press conference after the Jaguars had the dramatic come-from-behind win over the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The head coach stood in front of the media and talked about his team being, and I'm quoting him now, pissed off about the way they played. Not, of course, that they won, but the way that the game was played.
Right.
Since then, they have committed 23 penalties that were called. They've allowed 14 sacks. If he was pissed off after a win, how's he feeling as he sits down here to talk to you in a couple of minutes?
Oh, I think he's certainly upset about the result, but more upset about the way that they've played. They haven't played very well. I would contend that the two teams that we played after the Chiefs are better overall teams.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the strengths of those teams expose some parts of the Jaguars that we hadn't seen. The young defensive line from the Seahawks and the Rams exposed us. So we got to get better. We got to go to work. He has to figure out how to mask those deficiencies from a schematic sense. He has to figure out how to get this team to play better. But you got 2 weeks to kind of take a breath, reset, reevaluate what you've seen, and then try and figure out the best plan to go forward.
The penalty thing is going to be a very asked question over the next 2 weeks. But the question, I don't know how you do it, is because so much of it's circumstantial.
Yeah, so much of it is, but a lot of it, the pre-snap penalties, you can find a way to get it in. It's really just working on getting the pre-snap penalties there. You can't get rid of all the other stuff,
right?
But you certainly can get rid of the ones that you can control. Everyone needs to know the snap count, situations, formations, and those things.
No turnovers, obviously, today, but the penalties were still there. And the head coach is getting ready to walk into the room, Buck, so I'm going to step aside and let him put this headset on.
morning, Coach. Thoughts on a tough day?
Yeah. Really frustrating day. All the things that you kind of have talked about being an Achilles heel, things that you talked about being a reason that a way we can't continue to play and do things, and it showed up again. And that's the frustrating part. It starts right here as the head football coach. But the penalties, mistakes, drops, whatever it be, has continued to be an issue.
It certainly has continued to be an issue. And, look, it's one of those things that show up, like, because when you play really good teams, they can show you your flaws, so you can see them, and they're magnified in those things. So, and coming off the last 2 weeks, heading to the bye week, you've talked about all the things that you can clean up, but how do you go about that process of figuring out how to evaluate what we need to work on and how to get better over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, so it starts with this long flight we got going home, and have the opportunity to watch the tape to be able to get those emotions and feelings in check, to understand maybe what exactly occurred today, having some thoughts, right, from being there just now. And this week we will look at everything from a self-scout standpoint in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. Self-scout our tendencies, both, the good and the bad, right? Things you need to maybe look at that were being worked against us in some ways, but also, all right, from a personnel standpoint in all three phases, who do we need to see more of and play more? Who do we maybe need to play a little bit less and see less, in terms of getting the best 11 on the grass at all times, and also making sure that as play callers on offense, defense, special teams, and coaches, that we've got the best plan possible. Right now, our starts the last 3 weeks, we have started poorly.
Right.
If you really go back to Kansas City, we got down 14-0. We started poorly in the last 3 games. Defense came out today, I thought, and gave us, again, some opportunities in the second half to go close the gap. You get the punt return called back on a touch, for a touchdown. You missed the field goal. And you get past and cross the 50 how many times and don't get points out of it. So, frustrating day.
Yeah, really frustrating. So now you take all that frustration, you sit at 4-3, you head into the bye week, and most coaches always kind of break the season up into quarters or those things. So there's still a lot of football left. How do you maintain the positive vibes that have been created from training camp and the first part of the season, regardless of the record? Because I hear you always talk about play at a time. Don't worry about outcomes, worry about the process.
I think we'll find out, what type of leadership we are and what we have here. Not just the players, coaches, staff, leadership, but also from a player standpoint, or how do we respond to this? All right, is our immediate response is going to be to point the finger, blame each other, or is the immediate response to look in the mirror, how can I both, do my job as a player, coach, staff member, whatever it is, how can I help and improve myself, which will then help the entirety in the big picture of it. If we start pointing the finger and not looking inward first, I think we'll have some problems.
Yeah, but one thing that I do know, because you talked about this part of it, you talked about there's some adversity that's on the horizon. We got to deal with the storm. How do we get out of it? In building a tough and hardened team, we had to anticipate that some of this was going to happen. So part of it is the challenge of, let's figure out how to get this through, because if we get through this, it'd be much better for the team.
Much better for us moving forward. It's like that armor you talk about is when you get hit and kinks in the armor, it strengthens you. And right now we are at a moment in which we lost the battle, right? We lost 2 battles in a row, and ultimately how we respond to this and how we as coaches go and look at this from a detailed self-scout, future, moving forward, all that, and from the players being honest when we watch this tape. Am I performing to the highest level? Am I practicing the best? Am I walking through the best? Am I meeting? Am I staying attentive and paying attention to the details? And in the games, we got to go make some plays too.
That's true.
We got to go make some plays when the ball is in the air, when we have opportunities. it ain't always going to be wide open. We all got to go make some plays in all three phases. And that's the part we got to get through.
Well, I'm excited to see what the next 2 weeks look like and when we tee it up again against the Raiders.
Thanks, Bucky. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Bucky, safe travels to you and everybody back from London here to Jacksonville. The head coach interview was presented by G.E.H.A, Government Employees Health Association, benefits for federal employees and retirees. We will take it back here stateside in the Hyundai Studios. Tony Smith will join me, and up next, we've got the Kingfish Pest Control defensive play of the game. 35-7, the Jaguars fall to the L.A. Rams. This is Jaguars Postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Hey, Duval, here's your chance to be face-to-face with the Jags as they take the field on game day. Jump in the shadows and experience the Jaguars like never before. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows for your chance to be part of the action. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C., 18 and older. Entry periods for the sweepstakes are from 8/4/25 to 12/21/25. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank, N.A. member FDIC.
My husband, Steve, was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They only gave him months to live. That was years ago. Now, he's out there, under the tree. Nature photography is his thing. And apparently, so is catching poison ivy.
Oof, so itchy. UF Health, human progress has no finish line.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect.
When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it.
You make power plays.
Aim for fences.
And go for end zones.
You believe that your moment is now. At Farrah & Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you. Jacksonville.
Is that Tacoma towing a pink mechanical bull?
Sure seems like it.
Well, I'll be.
Truck like you truck with a great deal during Toyota Truck Month. Get $1,000 in Conquest bonus cash for new Toyota customers on a new 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Valid through November 3rd, 2025. Offer entitles $1,000 Conquest bonus cash on certain new 2025 and 2026 Toyota pickup trucks for current non-Toyota owners of small, midsize, and large pickup trucks. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
Jaguars postgame presented by G.E.H.A. Mike Dempsey, and now joined by Tony Smith in the Hyundai Studios. Tony, what a debacle for the Jags today. Just simply really very little outside of Travis Hunter going right. I'll let you weigh in on everything here in a moment, but time now for the Kingfish Pest Control defensive play of the game. And for me, Tone, this is kind of emblematic of the fact that we didn't have many guys making standout plays today. I'm going to give it to Travis Hunter on the pass breakup on the third down. It was his first defensive rep of the game, and he's brought in to cover Davante Adams one-on-one, followed him down the field, a semi-deep pass, able to break that up and give the Jags an opportunity to get the ball back. Their offense didn't do anything with it at that point, down 21-0, but he was called upon at a big moment and delivered.
Yeah, really on a day where there's not a whole lot of players on the entire roster that you can point to and say that they even had the potential of making what was even a remotely positive play, basically on the day. But that was a big play, its first defensive play of the game. It does draw the question, why? Is that his first defensive play of the game? We're watching them have trouble throughout the first half of the game covering guys. They're just having trouble doing it. Now, I don't know how much Hunter being on or off the field would have affected, that kind of thing, because a lot of that was tight ends, right, that they were having issues with. But it was the first opportunity he had. It's becoming more and more clear, it feels like to me, by the week, that Travis Hunter needs to be featured on both sides of the ball if they're going to have a chance to be as good as they can be on either side of the ball.
Well, if this was the great plan and the great vision, where he is going to help revolutionize the game of football, then we got to see him out there with the opportunity to do that. By the way, Davante Adams only had 35 yards receiving in this game, but he caught 3 touchdowns that totaled 4 yards. And that's been kind of his MO. He's almost impossible. Aaron Rodgers did that with Davante from the 1-yard line throughout their career in Green Bay.
Yeah,
so
that
he's,
part of the
he's
field,
great at that.
He's as good as anybody that's played in the last 20 years. At that kind of opportunity in the end zone, just be the rebounder. There's not many guys that have been better than that.
Yeah, on a day when the Jags didn't have a lot of defensive highlights, Travis Hunter's pass breakup, the Kingfish Pest Control defensive play of the game. Let the pros tackle the pests in your home by going to kingfishpest.com. That is kingfishpest.com. All right, time now to get an Everbank stats check, Tony. Looking at the team stats, the Rams had it in just about every category. First downs, 26-21 over the Jaguars. Jags did a good job once again on third down. They got the Rams off the field 8 out of 10 times. They did convert their only 2 fourth down tries. So overall, 4 for 12. That's still a pretty good percentage for the Jaguars defense. Unfortunately for the offense, 3 of 15 on third down, 2 of 6 on fourth down for a combined 5 for 21 conversion rate on those key downs. Total yards in the game, the Jags actually outgained the Rams, which shows you how unimportant that stat can be. 358 to 271. Passing, it was 264 to 182. On the ground, Jags outrushed the Rams 94 to 89. But in the red zone, 4 for 4 for the Rams getting points on the board. Jags 0 for 2 on the day. And the big telling stats are the penalties. 13 for Jacksonville, including several more that were not accepted. For 119 total yards, Rams penalized today 5 times for 45 yards. Time of possession in LA's favor, 31-46 to 28-14.
Yeah, you look at the individual stats in the game for the Rams. Matthew Stafford, not a big yardage day. 21 out of 33 for 182, but 5 touchdowns. Obviously, the killer there, a 117.7 rating there for Matthew Stafford. On the ground, not a whole lot going for the Rams. 12 for 54. Kyron Williams led the way there. Blake Corum added another 12 for 37 on the ground. As you mentioned, Devontae Adams, the 3 touchdowns, but on only 5 catches for 35 yards. The leading receiver was Colby Parkinson, who had the 23-yard touchdown that was on all 3 of his targets, 47 yards in the game for him. On the Jaguars side of things, Trevor Lawrence, 23 of 48, 296, 1 touchdown, no picks, a 74.7 rating. Travis Etienne led him on the ground, 8 carries for 44 yards. Travis Hunter, his first 100-yard day as a pro, 8 for 101 and a touchdown on 14 targets. Parker Washington was second on the team, 4 for 52 on 10 targets today for Parker Washington. Brian Thomas Jr., 3 for 31 on 7 targets, which that's how you wind up with a guy completing 50% of his passes for almost 300 yards, is everyone's targeted 10 times and catches 4 or 5. You know, like that's the kind of day they had on offense. The leaders on defense for the Jags today, Ventrell Miller, 8 tackles, 5 of the solo variety. Jordan Lewis, 6 tackles, 4 solo and 1 pass defense. They had 4 quarterback hits today. 3 of those came from Josh Hines-Allen. I don't know if you ever felt them, but he did have 3 quarterback hits in the game today. Not a whole heck of a lot else going on defense for anybody.
No, and I heard Liam Cohen kind of laud the defense to give the offense opportunities. To me, the most telling moment in this game is when the Rams got the ball back up 21-0 with about a minute 45 at the end of the first half, and they just sat on the ball because they knew if we're not crazy enough to turn it over down here, Jacksonville has no chance to come back and beat us today. And so they didn't even push the threshold. In today's NFL, everyone tries to get in field goal range at a minimum. Truly, if that had been wet field, perfect conditions, the Rams are probably trying to drive that down for a touchdown. But I think they were content. They knew at 21-0, barring major catastrophic mistakes, they were not going to lose the football game.
Yeah, I think part of that is they've seen the success that the Jaguars had early in the season was in moments like that, they found a way to get a turnover, right? Like that's where the early season success happened for the football team. So from that perspective, from McVay, he's just like, look, there's no reason to risk anything, right? Like they're not a threat to us at this point. Let's not help them be a threat by being a threat to ourselves, like in that kind of moment. But I think we've all seen enough of the Rams' success in the last decade plus that, yeah, it's surprising when a Rams team with Stafford as hot as he appeared to be at that point in the game to just say, you know what, we don't have to do anything.
We're good.
We don't have to push anything right here. Just basically kneel it out.
Let's get away with a win, and we got another half to go, but we're not feeling threatened. We get the ball first in the second half.
And they kind of played the third quarter that way, too.
Absolutely. They just said, you know what, let's run some clock here. It's almost like that was their primary goal there in the third quarter. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I could throw 5 touchdowns as well.
Yeah, why not on 4th and 1 just try a 40-yard pass?
Yeah, let's do that as well. So, hey, look, they basically did what they wanted today with very few exceptions. Well, coming up next, it's the Jaguars Radio Network Player of the Game voting. If this one's not unanimous, there's going to be an issue. Final score, 35-7. The LA Rams win it. This is Jaguars postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Federal employees keep our country going, and G.E.H.A. is proud to keep them going with health plans exclusively for them. We were started by postal employees in 1937, and today we offer all federal employees a network of 1.7 million providers and a health plan for every stage of life. That's why we've been trusted by millions of federal employees and retirees across the country since 1937. G.E.H.A. Find your federal health plan at GEHA.com.
NFL fans, when it's time to get Jaguars tickets, you can tackle game day with total certainty with Ticketmaster. With 100% verified tickets available all season long, you can count on getting in with ease and spend time focusing on the good stuff. Even if you're headed to the game last minute, you can still score seats. Want to meet up inside the stadium with your crew? Transferring your tickets is an easy handoff. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
What's Here is a place that generations have trusted to help their kids grow up healthy and strong. What's Here are caregivers with knowledge and expertise rivaling any children's hospital in the world. What's Here is the only Level 1 pediatric trauma center in our region. What's Here is Wolfson Children's Hospital with the technology, research, and dedication to save and change countless young lives. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Jags fans, this season make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium, and then you can enjoy even more with the Al's Pizza Pickoff promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their 5 locations.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A. Government Employees Health Association. Benefits for federal employees and retirees. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville. Let's send it back live to London as quarterback Trevor Lawrence is at the postgame podium.
You know, I think the first one was 4th and 6, down there in the red zone. And we were down 21, like you said, into the first half. And we felt like we needed to score a touchdown to I don't want to say to stay in it, but we need to score points. And at that point, being down 3 scores, you want to score touchdowns over field goals. So, and felt like we had a decent call and give us a shot to get the first down potentially. So that was the thought there. Then in the second half, obviously, when you're down multiple scores, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, you kind of got to just go for those and stay on the field and give yourself a chance.
Let's go to D-Rock. So big game today from Travis. Obviously, he's a bigger part of the game plan. He's talked about the struggle to get him involved in the first half and then kind of finding it in the second.
Yeah, Travis did some great things today. I mean, everybody sees how special he is when you give him opportunities, and I felt like I was able to find him a little bit more today than in the past. And even still there, I think there's so much that we can learn from and grow from, and like our chemistry and seeing the game the same. I think it's getting there, and I think that's why you see in the second half some improvements and us connecting more. But there's still a lot of meat on the bone for us to take advantage of, honestly. So I'm excited for that, and we just got to continue to get better. Obviously that was good to see him, more involved and to make those plays, and just continues to make plays and shows up when he needs to. So that's great. It's a good note for me as a quarterback, just obviously to keep in the back of my mind that he just makes plays, whenever the ball comes to him. But a lot of things that we still can clean up, but I thought he did some great things today. It's not necessarily, he's kind of an alert there. If you get a matchup, you get a look. They were playing a cover 3 version and could have thrown the quick out to Parker. but the corner tied down, and I felt like we had a matchup there with the safety, and Travis did a good job fighting through contact. They were holding them, that's why we got the flag, but fought through the contact, still made the play on the ball, and did some good stuff for sure.
All right, there is quarterback Trevor Lawrence, obviously remarking on the day that Travis Hunter had today, really the lone bright spot, and otherwise dismal Jaguars performance, Tony, which, though, brings us perfectly to the Jaguars Radio Network Player of the Game voting. Usually I get a vote, J.P. Shadrick gets a vote, Fred Taylor gets a vote and a half. Do you want all the votes today? I think
there's only one name that's
there's not much
mentioned.
dissension coming here. Well, who do you got for the Player of the Game?
That would be Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And even more so in that he scores his first touchdown of his career. It's not a short play that he scores it on, right? It's a 34-yard catch, pretty good route, right, for him. He gets into the end zone for the first time. He goes over 100 yards for the first time, but he scores that touchdown, and having some kind of feel for where they were in the game, just kind of walked off, right? Like, even with people trying to come up and kind of celebrate with him, he's like, there's nothing to celebrate.
He wants to win.
Yeah, like the attitude of him, hopefully that rubs off on the entire team.
Travis Hunter, 8 catches, 101 yards, a touchdown, had a pass breakup on defense as well, caught 8 of 14 targets. You know what Travis Hunter does the best among the wide receivers? He catches the football, Tony. The ball hits him in the hands. It generally stays right there. Travis Hunter, our Jaguars Radio Network Player of the Game. From the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power onboard gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. Coming up next, the UF Health Injury Report. Final score from Wembley Stadium in London. The Rams 35, the Jaguars 7. This is Jaguars Postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Federal employees keep our country going, and G.E.H.A. is proud to keep them going with health plans exclusively for them. We were started by postal employees in 1937, and today we offer all federal employees a network of 1.7 million providers and a health plan for every stage of life. That's why we've been trusted by millions of federal employees and retirees across the country since 1937. G.E.H.A. Find your federal health plan at GEHA.com.
Jags fans, this season make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium, and then you can enjoy even more with the Al's Pizza Pickoff promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their 5 locations.
Hi, it's Sam Kavaris. You might know that Echo East Coast Transportation is the official transportation provider of the Jaguars. I've been a client of theirs for more than 30 years because they're from here and they're Jaguar fans too. So if you're looking for pre-arranged transportation, from the simple to the complex, call them at 904-631-5466 or find them online at ectjax.com and use the code SAM in the special instructions box for your 15% Jaguars discount. And if you want to talk Jaguars, they can do that too.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup. Thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
Jaguars postgame presented by G.E.H.A. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center in downtown Jacksonville. The injury report today presented by UF Health, the proud healthcare partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony, if you noticed any other ones, please definitely let me know. But these are the ones that caught my ear listening to the broadcast with Frank and Jeff Lageman today and watching the NFL Network coverage. Jordan Lewis left with an arm-shoulder injury fairly early. He was able to return to the game. Eric Murray has been dealing with kind of a neck issue. He left. He was able to come back in the game. Dyami Brown went down on kind of like a sliding catch attempt. It looked like that maybe he lost his footing. Might have been like a calf issue, but he was able to come back as well.
Right leg got awkwardly kind of caught underneath him.
Yeah, right. His leg, so
ankle, knee, something.
He stayed down for a little bit, but he was able to get back up, did come back in. And then, though, the weird one, Brian Thomas Jr., late in the game, is running. His right bicep looked like it got touched by an LA Ram defender, but didn't look like any kind of forceful contact or anything like that.
It felt like maybe that was a lingering effect of the drop that he had earlier, where he kind of landed awkwardly on that
possibly,
arm,
and then it just kind of flared up when he moved it a certain way.
Something happened, yeah.
But that's one to keep an eye on. I don't think he got back on the field after that, BTJ. So right arm hanging by his side. That's usually, a sign of a shoulder issue of some kind. He's got the bye week coming up. But, I mean, look, it's the hands, not the shoulder. That's been the issue with Brian Thomas Jr. this year, Tone. And I don't know how you fix it. How do you fix drops other than stop dropping the football?
Stop doing it.
Start catching. I mean, it's become contagious. Parker Washington is supposed to be the sure-handed one among the veterans here. He drops one on 3rd and 15 that would have converted it right over the middle, hit him, I think, right in the face mask after it went right through both hands. So Dyami Brown didn't really put his body in jeopardy on a ball over the middle. He stuck a hand out, needed to go for it with both hands. I thought had a chance to catch it, probably take a hit in the process, but that's what they're paying you $10 million for. Got to catch that ball, take that hit. Too much of a plague of drops continuing with most of the pass catchers on this football team.
Yeah, I think Parker has had 2 games this year where he's had a really bad drop issue, right? But it's been 2 games. They haven't played 50. They've played 7. This is not something that you can have going on with a guy who's supposed to be the 3rd or 4th target for your football team. Well, he was going to be featured way more than that today, but he didn't take advantage of that opportunity. And, look, we've been talking about the Brian Thomas Jr. thing since it crept up week 1, right? And it's never really completely gone away. It felt like last week maybe it was kind of going away for Brian Thomas Jr., but it's certainly not gone. The only other one I would mention is Tim Patrick left with a groin injury.
That's right.
And was unable to return.
There you go. And, that's, 5 different players, but several of them, the guys in the secondary, Dyami Brown, able to get back on the practice field. Bye week probably coming at a good time for a number of guys with some bumps and bruises along the way. And, the other issue, Tone, that I talked about with Bucky and Brian a little bit earlier in the postgame, Cam Little now. I mean, what is the trust factor that you could possibly have in this guy? And I understand the conditions weren't perfect today, but you've got to make your kicks. And from what I understood, social media said he was making them in warm-ups, piping them right down the middle, gets out there, misses his first one. It's not the miss, Tony. It was, to me, the reaction that he had sitting on the bench, kind of that, I can't understand what's going on. Why is this happening? That's what I interpreted his facial expression to be. And, they were talking about it earlier, Bucky and Brian, that he's never really had a stretch where he hasn't been successful. He'd never missed an extra point in his football career.
Yeah.
And then he finally did. And now, he was Mr. Automatic. Only missed 2 as a rookie, 2 kicks of any kind as a rookie. And right now, I get it. You got to a certain point, you're down 21. You can't settle for 3, even if you think he's going to make them. But you wonder if this is going to make Liam Cohen coming out of the bye more aggressive when the Jags start to get in that longer field goal range and not settle for Cam Little to come in and try to kick it.
Yeah, I think it's something we talked about this week after the game that he had against Seattle, that it's not a we need to replace him, but you at least have your eyes on, do we have to start thinking about what we're doing at kicker, right, for the football team?
Sure.
And does he play well enough this week in London that those kind of questions just disappear? And if he had made the kick that he had the opportunity to make today, there's no more issues, right? It's like, oh, he's fine. right? Like, that would have been the reaction to it. Oh, he's fine. But there is this thing with kickers. It's this weird thing, and I do have it in the back of my head. He's a talented enough guy that if he's coming to the end of the road here in Jacksonville, not that he's at the end of it, but if this continues and they have to replace him as the kicker, would I be surprised if he landed on another roster and
I
was
would
great?
think he'd be immediately claimed and potentially become one of the best kickers in the league. That's why it's so important to get this issue ironed out, because he has the potential to be elite at his position. And you invested, maybe it wasn't this regime, but the team invested a draft pick, and it looked like a well-spent draft pick. And right now, what is supposed to be the most automatic aspect of your operation is anything but.
Yeah, and it kind of, we were having the conversation a moment ago as well about the Brian Thomas Jr. thing and what's going on with that. And I think going into the season, Brian Thomas Jr. and Cam Little, obviously different ranges of players. There's different, we need to rely on them levels with these guys, but they were guys that you thought were rock solid, right, going into the season, and they just haven't been. To this point in the season, they're still trying to figure out exactly how to feature Travis Hunter in the offense. Am I surprised that the offensive line looked as good as it did for the first month and has struggled the way that it has the last 3 weeks? Not really. Not compared to where I was going into the season. Am I surprised that they've run into a stretch where the offensive line is playing about where I thought they might be going into the year? Now, I didn't expect the sack numbers that we're seeing. It's crazy, the sacks that they've given up here in the last couple of weeks. But I'm not surprised if at any point this year the offensive line isn't great. I don't think they're a football team that can afford for Brian Thomas Jr. to not be great. And with all that going on, for your kicker to be a question when you send him out, they're not good enough in a bunch of areas on the field for those things to be an issue for them as well. It's too much for this team as they're constructed to overcome.
I understand your point about like where you thought they were in the preseason, what you'd expect of them. But after that first month, when they went, the San Francisco game, they didn't let Trevor Lawrence get touched. Yeah. And I get it. They didn't have Nick Bosa, but, man, this is still a professional football team. I thought they had raised their level of play, and right now they're backsliding in a big, big way. All right, folks, we've got one segment to go here on the post game, and we'll come back and preview what's ahead. Not next week. Next week's the bye, mercifully, for the Jaguars. They fall 35-7 to the LA Rams. This is Jaguars post game on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Is that Tacoma towing a pink mechanical bull?
Sure seems like it.
Well, I'll be.
Truck like you truck with a great deal during Toyota Truck Month. Get $1,000 in Conquest bonus cash for new Toyota customers on a new 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Valid through November 3rd, 2025. Offer entitles $1,000 Conquest bonus cash on certain new 2025 and 2026 Toyota pickup trucks for current non-Toyota owners of small, midsize, and large pickup trucks. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A. Government Employees Health Association. Benefits for federal employees and retirees. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith in the Hyundai Studios as the Jags fall to the L.A. Rams. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Jacksonville Jaguars Radio Network. All right, Tony, here it comes. The positive spin moving forward. All right, the Jags are 4-3. They're above 500. I don't know what you exactly had them at. I had them at, in the offseason, going through game by game, 2-5 at this point.
Me too.
But you look at the back half of the schedule and you thought, oh, a lot of games they can get here. Now, the Colts are a much more difficult out than maybe we anticipated. But I still had them getting to 9 wins with only 2 at the bye. So there's a lot out in front of it for the Jacksonville Jaguar football team right now. They've got the bye week next week. But I do think that these 2 performances back-to-back make you beware that some of these games that maybe you took a little bit for granted, like, hey, man, the Las Vegas Raiders are terrible. Well, guess who can wreck your game? Max Crosby. And if they're not protecting Trevor Lawrence any better, there's no team in the National Football League that can't beat this football team. They've got 2 weeks to get a lot of mistakes corrected, clean things up, and hopefully put this behind them and get back on their winning ways.
Yeah, we'll see what the Colts do here in the next couple of weeks, right? Which early in the season, that was kind of, you could watch in the division for what was going to happen with that. They got the win at home early in the year against Houston. Well, now you get the bye week, and coming out of the bye, you're going to Houston. And after losing a couple of games in a row, it does feel like it's, games at any point in the season aren't really make or break, but it does feel like which direction are you going?
Well, you get Vegas first.
Yeah.
So you get that one.
Yeah.
To try to get to 5, and then you do take that trip to Houston.
Right. Like, it's just which direction are you going in this season, right? It feels like they're at that point with the way that they played the last couple of weeks. I don't know how you fix what's going on the offensive line. I mean, how do you give up all – Trevor Lawrence is under assault every snap right now. There's nothing getting done up front. And Trevor's having his own issues with his own accuracy and these kind of things. I don't know how much of that is directly affected by one or the other. They dropped the ball all over the place today. Like, there's just so much going on for this football team. The turnovers have dried up. They had 13 in the first 3 weeks. They've had 1 since then. Right now, it was a big one on Monday Night Football, the Devin Lloyd interception return, but they've had 1 in the last 3 weeks, and it feels like they are more and more a team that is completely relying on the turnover for their success on defense because they're not getting pass rush. Right now, maybe it's a healthy Trayvon Walker is the real key to whatever they're going to get done.
Maybe it is, and that healthy pass rush fuels turnovers, obviously. As well. When you make those quarterbacks hurry up a little bit. I'm wondering after 2 weeks off if we don't see Wyatt Milam make a starting debut somewhere, or at least get some consideration or some reps on this offensive line because somebody needs to be pushed at this stage. Probably a lot of people do. All right, folks, for those on our flagship station, 1010XL in Jacksonville, stick around. The Scoreboard Show coming up next. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith will stick around with you. For those on the network outside of Jacksonville, we invite you to join us on Jaguars.com or the Jaguars YouTube channel. For Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks and our entire crew, J.P. Shadrick as well. I'm Mike Dempsey saying good afternoon from Jacksonville, Florida, where the final score in London was the LA Rams 35 and your Jaguars 7 on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome to the Jaguars Scoreboard Show. J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Bucky Brooks will take your calls about today's game and take a look at the rest of the league. The Jaguars Scoreboard Show is brought to you by Farrah and Farrah, Whataburger, the University of Florida, and by Everbank. The Jaguars Scoreboard Show starts right now.
All right, we usually like to start it off with a cry of scoreboard, but that's when the Jaguars win the game. The scoreboard ugly today, 35-7 in favor of the LA Rams. I'm Mike Dempsey, along with Tony Smith from the Hyundai Studios here at the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville. And Tony, really, outside of Travis Hunter, almost nothing went right for the Jacksonville Jaguars today. And you hope that the bye week is coming at the appropriate time because, recent iterations of the Jags opted not to take the bye week. I think they need it. They need to self-scout. They certainly need a respite from the pass rush from the NFC West that has been crushing them for the last couple of weeks. They've got to get things righted here. There's still a lot of football left. I know that's cliche, but there are 10 games left on this schedule for the Jags, and a lot of winnable ones. You got the Tennessee Titans twice. You got the winless Jets. You've got the one-win Las Vegas Raiders, just to name a few.
Yep.
So there are opportunities here for this football team, but they have got to get the mistakes ironed out, get rid of some of these penalties. You're not going to go penalty-free very often, but you can't have double digits almost every single week. The rare exception was that Kansas City Monday night game, 13 for 119 today, with several more that were called that were declined.
Yeah, they're a team that, you and I have had plenty of discussions, right? We do it every day on the show. It's what is the identity of this Jaguars team, right? And we could talk about what they want the identity to be, but what the identity of this football team is right now is sloppy. Right, and it's sloppy all over the place, right? And it's in a bunch of different areas that they're having that kind of thing. We discussed during the postgame things that they thought they could rely on going into the season are not reliable for the football team right now. So what do you fall back on? I don't know.
Fundamentals. That's what you always hear, right? But what does that translate to?
It's week one of the preseason all over again when they couldn't get their feet on the ground on defense, right? When Pittsburgh was just running quick and they couldn't get set on defense. It feels like it's not those kind of issues, but it's those kind of issues for the football team right now from the 1,000-mile high view of what's going on with this football team right now. They're just unsettled in such a wide variety of ways. At least last week against Seattle, when it got to a point in that second half, I was watching it feeling like I think they can play themselves back into this, right? I felt that way the whole time against Kansas City. They're going to play themselves back into this game. That's how I felt when they were playing the Chiefs. Not for a moment. From kickoff today, I feel like they were even there.
Well, look, last week, as ugly as it got, it was a one-score game.
Yeah.
It was a one-possession game, at least, an 8-point game, and you felt like, man, if your kicker had made some makeable kicks, the end game could have played out differently. You're right. Yeah. This week, there was, if the Rams needed to score 14 more, they would have done it. Yep. That's how we talked about it earlier. They took their foot off the gas with about 2 minutes to go in the first half, and then for the entire third quarter, they're just like, all right, let's let this clock run. Let's eat it up. Let's get to the fourth quarter. As long as we don't make a massive mistake, the Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to beat us today. All right, so no phone calls today on the Scoreboard show, but you'll have your opportunity if you want to get in with Hacker and Company on the fifth quarter when we wrap up. Still plenty to get to here, though. Live from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. Jaguars fall to the LA Rams 35-7. This is the Scoreboard show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Son Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? Do you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle & Sons. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. CoyleJacks.com.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey, Jaguar fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Join the thousands of Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Stadium on game day. That's JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jags. Passes start at $10 on the MyJTA mobile app. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Game Day Express is one way the JTA is working to create a better connected Northeast Florida. Visit JTAFLA.com for more details.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
Jags fans, this one's for you. If you've got MyGate rewards, you're already in the game. But now you've got a shot at the ultimate prize, meeting QB1 himself, Trevor Lawrence, at Everbank Stadium with 3 friends by your side. With the MyGate Rewards Gatorade Club, every 5 Gatorade items you purchase equals 1 entry toward your chance to win. Stack them up and score big. See store for details. Gear up for the season. Gates got you.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
We continue on the Scoreboard Show. Unfortunately, the bad score for the Jags is the Rams putting up 35 on them. The Jaguars only managed 7 today in London, and they will limp home with a 4-3 record and the first small losing streak under the tutelage of Liam Cohen as head coach. Tony, the play of the game presented by Coyle Fence since 1927. They've been around the block, and they fenced it, too. And this should be as obvious as the player of the game voting was in the postgame earlier. The play of the game was Trevor Lawrence dropping back on a 2nd and 3 and finding Travis Hunter for a 35-yard touchdown. Hunter's first score of his NFL career, overcame a illegal contact penalty on the LA Rams on that play. So that was obviously a decline. Cam Little kicked the extra point through, but Travis Hunter, the first of what we hope are many, many touchdowns, part of an 8-catch, 101-yard day on 14 targets. And there were a lot of talk on the broadcast today, Tone, and in the postgame with Bucky and Brian, that this has to be the guy that is looked at as your new number 1 wide receiver. And the only issue I have with that is, can they grow what they want him to be? As they said, we don't want to put too much on him in his rookie year. We're going to only teach him to play like the flanker position. He's not going to play outside. So can you be that if you can't play multiple spots on the offense, or is he just good enough at what he does that by default he's going to be kind of the Jaguars' leading go-to guy in the passing game?
Yeah, I think it's something they have to think about going into the bye. It's not like they're on the practice field a whole bunch during the bye week, obviously, right? That's why it's a bye week. So the work's not going to get done until the week after that. But they have to think about how they want to approach those kind of things. And with Hunter specifically, and the way Brian Thomas Jr. is struggling, through the first 7 games of the year, they want to build this thing around him. And you could see the targets are saying they've never backed off of that. Right? Like they still want the offense to run through Brian Thomas Jr. He's not playing like a guy the offense needs to run through right now. Travis Hunter might be the guy that they can run the offense through. At some point, do they have to think about, we just got to give him more, right? Like, we had a plan for this is what we want to do. We haven't seen any indication that he can't handle more than we're giving him. At some point, do you just say, just give him more? And let's see how he reacts to it. And if it does look like it's a problem, then we can back off of this thing.
I think you probably have to.
Right? And then we'll see what that looks like. But for now, with all the struggles they're having on offense, and look, Trevor Lawrence, he's just got to be more accurate. No doubt. Like, there are big issues with that to this point. And we're halfway through his first season in this offense basically now. And there have been moments where it looked like it was coming on a little bit, but it's not happening fast enough for the team to be effective on offense right now, and his accuracy is killing him.
Well, look, he missed Travis Etienne on a swing out of the backfield, threw it on the ground 2 feet in front of him. Now, I don't know if that ball slipped out of his hand.
Like it almost fell out of his hand. It was such a weird
odd,
look.
But he missed Johnny Mutt, sailed it 2 feet over his head on what should have been a simple completion. It's pitch and catch on a lot of these, and that is, he'll rip an amazing 35-yard dart to somebody, and then he'll miss the 7-yarder to the next guy.
It feels like in the NFL you had a guy that was open and you threw it a little off target once, right? Like in a game, it's like, all right, I missed it on that one. But you can't have it happen 5, 6, 7 times a game, where it's just, well, if he's just accurate with it, the sticks keep moving. We're making big plays. Like, these kinds of things are happening. Now, we still wound up with 296, but who cares? Like, you didn't feel that yardage at all in the game today from Trevor Lawrence. And as you know, because, again, we talk about this every day, I've been a big kind of proponent and defender in a lot of ways of Trevor Lawrence. But we're halfway through this season with this install coming in, and I'm not seeing anywhere near the kind of improvement I thought we'd be seeing.
Right. He's got to be taking steps and making progress in this offense and as a player in general. And we thought Liam Cohen would scheme some things up, some easy throws. That's the problem. Sometimes he misses the easy throws. Yeah. So, look, they've got issues, but you talked about this team not having an identity. Liam Cohen did, when he took over the team, say, hey, we want to run the offense through Brian Thomas. That kind of evolved over the summer to, hey, we want to be a running football team. We want that to be our identity. To kind of now, hey, our identity is going to be, we got this unicorn weapon in Travis Hunter.
Right.
Partly because, well, Etienne averaged 5.5 yards per carry today. That number kind of shocks me. It didn't look like the Jags' running game to me was all that effective. No. And when you fall behind like they did, you can't be a running team. They attempted 19 runs today. That includes 2 scrambles by Trevor Lawrence. So 17 designed runs. They threw it 48 times today. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even include the sacks that he took. So they were going to throw it well over 50 times. They ran it less than 20. Total imbalance. You can't get Etienne going. Bajal Tutin's basically an afterthought right now, and that's it. You're just not getting anything generated with that run game, at least in terms of overall big numbers. Again, the average per carry was fine for both of those guys. You didn't have the ability falling behind by 21 in the first half to stick with the run. Jaguars Scoreboard Show presented by Everbank. Advantage you. Make the most out of your money at everbank.com/Jaguars. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith live in the Hyundai Studios. More to do straight ahead with the Rams knocking off the Jags today, 35-7. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com.
Chelsea here, ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? During our fall savings month, get 20% off your replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, or 0 interest for 12 months. Our Acclaim Impact windows are built for Florida homes, designed to help you save on energy bills by maintaining indoor temperatures year-round. Offer ends October 31st. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation. License number CGC 1527613. Renewal by Anderson, where comfort meets savings.
My best friend Riley loved going to the beach. She was a great swimmer. Then one day, during a swim meet, she collapsed. She had cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma. She spent months getting care at UF Health. The doctors did so much, even put her in a clinical trial. I wish we could go to the beach right now. But she's working.
Out of the water.
She's on lifeguard duty. Maybe we'll head out when her shift is done.
UF Health. Human progress has no finish line.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember Morton Anderson missing a chip shot field goal that launched the Jags into the playoffs in 1996? You know who doesn't miss? Coyle & Sons Fencing. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821. That's 904-356-4821. Or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E, Jacks.com. Coyle & Sons, keeping your business and home safe for nearly a century.
Welcome back. The Scoreboard Show rolls on here. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville as the whole operation packing up and getting ready to get on a plane and head back from London, licking their wounds after a 35-7 loss at the hands of the L.A. Rams on a day where, yes, it was a breakout of sorts, offensively at least for Travis Hunter, but it was a breakdown in a lot of other categories for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So now, Tony, you look ahead to the next couple of weeks, and one thing that we know is coming up on the horizon is the NFL trade deadline, November 4th. So we've still got a few weeks to go, but we've seen moves in recent days where James Gladstone has restructured some of the contracts of the Jacksonville Jaguars, including Greg Newsome, who they just acquired, converted his salary to a signing bonus. They've created about $12 million in cap space. They've talked about being aggressive and adding players. They don't want to settle and just look at this as a long-term build. They want to win now if they possibly can, and it is pretty wide open in the AFC. So as things stand today, factoring in what you saw on the field today, if there's one position that a guy could come in and help this football team the most, what is that position that you would desire?
Defensive tackle. Somebody that can give you some kind of push from the interior of the defensive line. And I don't know that it's particularly close, right, for what would be next on my list. I saw, look, Trayvon's dealing with what Trayvon's dealing with. And I'm not surprised that he's having issues creating pressure with only one hand to use while he's trying to do it. As we mentioned going through the stats, Josh Hines-Allen still wound up with 3 quarterback hits today. He's the only guy that ever had an effective pass rush basically in the entire game. And he did do it about 7-8 times. He had a really good pass rush. Well, nobody else won on the entire line of scrimmage. When he would have a good rush, it was like flashing back to 2 and 3 years ago with the stuff that Josh was dealing with. He would win, his guy. Nobody else would win, would even come close to winning. They have to have something on the interior, and I think Trayvon will be back and he'll be fine, but he's not healthy right now. So when they have both those guys healthy again, I think they're going to be what we saw potentially early in the season from the two of those guys, creating the pressure on the outside, but they got nothing going on in the middle.
Yeah.
And it showed up so much today. Like you would see Josh coming around the edge, Stafford would take a step up, there's nothing. Like, it's not a threat to the quarterback, but all he has to do is take one step forward, and there's nothing getting pushed in the middle of the pocket.
Yeah, Stafford was under zero duress for most of the day today. And, look, yes, I agree. I think there are a lot of places they could use the help right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to add that many pieces to the mix. I do think they miss Brenton Strange and his toughness incredibly. He's a tone setter for this offense.
No doubt.
And you talk about not being able to run the ball as effectively as you'd like. He is one of the key reasons why with him not being available right now. So the Jags have a lot of questions they need to answer amongst themselves as we move forward throughout the next couple of weeks with this bye week coming up next weekend. By the way, if you want to get in and weigh in on any of this stuff, the 5th quarter is coming up when Tony and I go off. The Jaguars fall to the L.A. Rams 35-7 in London. And the Jaguars broadcast booth, including ours today, presented by Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and remodeling company. 35-7, Jags fall to the L.A. Rams. You're listening to the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Son Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? Do you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle & Sons. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. CoyleJacks.com.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
Chelsea here, ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? During our fall savings month, get 20% off your replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, or 0 interest for 12 months. Our Acclaim Impact windows are built for Florida homes, designed to help you save on energy bills by maintaining indoor temperatures year-round. Offer ends October 31st. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation. License number CGC 1527613. Renewal by Anderson, where comfort meets savings.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious Fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
Jaguars fans, are you ready to beat the heat? All season long, head to Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach, Fleming Island, and the West Side to cheer on your Jags. And here's the game-changing play. Order the Beat the Heat Special, which includes 12 of the best wings in town, and score a free milkshake or ice-cold milk in the Jaguars Souvenir Cup. Thanks to our friends at Florida Dairy Farmers. Fuel up, cool down, and celebrate your Jaguars with Mr. Chubby's Wings and Florida Dairy Farmers, the ultimate game day team.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard Show. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith. Final couple of segments to go before we hand things off to the fifth quarter as the Jaguars fall 35-7. Since this is the Scoreboard Show, we don't always get to do this. Here's all the early games in progress, Tony, including the division rival Tennessee Titans at home against the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel's returned to Nashville, and New England has a 17-13 lead. Kayshon Boutte with a touchdown before the half to provide that 4-point margin for New England. Other games at the half, Kansas City has welcomed back Rashee Rice, and he has responded with a pair of touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 3, and it's 21-0. Hey, that was a familiar score. Chiefs on top of the Raiders. Eagles lead the Vikings 14-6. Is this the Carson Wentz revenge game, or is this the Eagles revenge game on Carson Wentz? Wentz has been picked off twice as the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings today, and one of those was returned for a touchdown, yet only one offensive score for Philadelphia that came from A.J. Brown on an aerial from Jalen Hurts. 14-6, Eagles on top there. The Panthers on top of the Jets, 10-3. That game nearing the half, despite the fact that Rico Dowdle had gone for over 400 yards rushing in the last two games combined. The Panthers went right back to Chuba Hubbard, who's been kind of middling in this first half. The Browns have a 17-6 lead at the half. It was what's supposed to be the worst weather game of the day. Wind gusts up into the 50-mile-an-hour range. A lot of wind, obviously, a lot of rain, soggy conditions. And then finally the Bears on top of the Saints right now, 20-0. Later on today, Indianapolis tries to improve their record to 6-1. They're currently atop the AFC South. They're in Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And the Houston Texans, don't look now, looking to win their third in a row, Tony, after the Jags beat them in week 3. They had their bye already, and they're in Seattle to take on the same Seahawk team that bedeviled the Jaguars on the offensive line. That's the second of the Monday night doubleheader this week. So look, best case scenario, Chargers beat the Colts, Texans lose on Monday night, Titans decide to shut down the franchise just because they're the Titans.
Yeah.
That probably won't happen. But, if everybody loses in the AFC South, that's the best you can hope for now that the Jags have already fallen in Week 7.
Yeah, I saw Jeffrey Simmons left that Titans game with some kind of injury already today. Not sure if he's going to be able to get back on the field there for Tennessee. But, yeah, now the Jaguars are in full scoreboard watch mode. And they're in that mode for a couple of weeks now, right? Like, it's the rest of today, and it'll be next week while they're on the bye as well. We'll see what I think there are a lot of Chargers fans in Jacksonville today, right? And whatever the contention was before the result against the Rams, it can only have gotten bigger after the result today against the Rams. The Colts need to start losing some ball games if the Jags are going to be able to keep pace with them.
Right, and the Jags are going to have to take care of their own business in those head-to-head matchups in the second half of the year. All right, folks, one more little segment to go. Final score, the L.A. Rams 35, the Jacksonville Jaguars 7. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Hey, Jaguar fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Join the thousands of Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Stadium on game day. That's JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jags. Passes start at $10 on the MyJTA mobile app. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Game Day Express is one way the JTA is working to create a better connected Northeast Florida. Visit JTAFLA.com for more details.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com. A bold change. A historic development is underway for the Bold City, and the Jacksonville Jaguars and team partners are a part of it. Introducing First and Forward, a development partner program highlighting the significant contributions made toward the transformative efforts to the city of Jacksonville. Thank you, Belter, Brooks Building Solutions, Jackson Electric Supply, Office Images, Sims Crane, Start Tech, and People's Gas. Championing progress on the field and in the community. The First and Forward program. The First Coast Forward Together. To learn more, visit Jaguars.com/forward together.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
All right, folks, coming down the stretch here on the Scoreboard Show, the fifth quarter with Hacker and Company coming up in just minutes on 1010XL. Of course, tomorrow, Tony, David Garrard will join us in studio, and we'll welcome in reaction to the Jags beatdown at the hands of the LA Rams, 35-7 on Jaguars today from 10 to noon here on 1010XL. Over the next couple weeks, a lot of things can get accomplished. Top of my wish list is figuring out the line of scrimmage, on both sides, but particularly the pass protection. And I hope maybe a recommitment to the running game can take some of the pressure off, because that'll slow down the pass rush. I mean, if you want to be a running team and you want to invest in this, and you've spent a couple of draft picks on running backs, and you bring in these offensive linemen, let's see it. And if it's got to be effective, it's got to be something you stick with. I'm not saying you have to go for 200 like they did in the opener, but you've got to be better than you've been, and you got to be a little bit more balanced. I do think Wyatt Milum can factor in to this situation. And then just find more ways to feature Travis Hunter. He is the one guy that you feel like is delivering when he gets his opportunities.
It's the harsh but very real reality of the NFL. If the lines of scrimmage, both of them, don't improve for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've won their last game in 2025. Right? Like, that's the harsh reality of the NFL. If they can't block any better or affect the opposing quarterback any better than they have in the last couple of weeks, they're not going to win again. So they got to figure these kind of things out. They got to do it now. It was way better in both those areas early in the season. That's why they won a bunch of the games that they won. But it's miserably bad right now. You got a bye week to figure some of those things out. I do think Wyatt Milum needs to get a look, because they're having a bunch of – I don't even know who you take off the field.
I don't either, but he needs to get in the mix, right? And at least be an option for this team.
They're at that point in the season where if they can't figure those kind of things out, then a really good start could just be flat out squandered for the football team.
Hey, folks, from the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power onboard gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. Well, we mentioned tomorrow, Jaguars today. Not sure what the Jags AM programming is. I know not all the broadcasters are traveling back on the team charter, so that may be delayed a little bit, but typically you'll catch Jags AM Monday mornings on Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. Jaguars Happy Hour Mondays from 4 to 6 on 1010XL as well. Again, thanks to everybody here for helping us get this broadcast up and rolling. For Tony Smith, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thanks to the Fortunatos and Donna Murphy and Max and everybody here behind the scenes who make the broadcast possible. Stick around. Your voice can be heard coming up on the fifth quarter with Hacker and the group here on 1010XL. Final score, Jaguars fall 35-7. This has been the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.